Hello, it's Easter Monday, and I'm just about to set off for my daily constitutional. It's a privilege, isn't it, to be able to get out and about. Beautiful day, beautiful part of the world. But it struck me that maybe I'll walk you through the gospel appearances of Jesus over the next few days. There's not a lot else for me to do, to be honest. So I thought over the next few days we could explore those resurrection appearances, particularly in John's gospel. It's my favourite gospel. You'll see I've titled this No Running Allowed. There's a lot of running at the beginning of the resurrection appearances there in John chapter 20. Mary has gone early on the first day of the week. That's significant. There's a new beginning. And she's got to the tomb and she's found it empty. So she runs to find Peter and John, the disciple whom Jesus loved. And they then come running to the tomb and they look inside and they see only linen wrappings where the body of Jesus was. John wants to make it clear that he got there first. He can run quicker than Peter. And he tells us not once, but twice, just to make sure that we get the point that he got there first. He can run quicker. But then they run away again. They believe, though they don't quite understand. They keep running. Not so Mary. She stays. And she looks into the tomb, and either side of those linen wrappings, she sees angels. One at the head and one at the foot, just like the Ark of the Covenant in the olden times. There on the top of the Ark of the Covenant were two angels, and in that space between those two angels was the place where God's glory was said to dwell. The very touching place, if you like, between heaven, God's reality, and earth, our reality. And now in the darkness of that tomb, she sees those two angels, but in between them there's nothing, just linen wrappings. And one of the angels says to her, why are you weeping? It's a bit harsh, isn't it? I mean, she's lost the person most important to her. Her whole world has ended. Everything's fallen apart. Why am I weeping? It's obvious, isn't it, angel? Well, we'll see what happens next tomorrow. But for today, I just want us to reflect on the power of staying. Peter and John ran off, but Mary stays. There's nothing left for her anywhere else. There's no need to run. Everything has disappeared. Everything that was precious, even the body of the one whom she loved, has been taken. What's left? And so she sits in the dust and she weeps. One of the things that this lockdown is forcing for many of us is forcing us to be still. Some people don't have that luxury. They're working hard for us, and thank God for them. All of those people working in hospitals, in supermarkets, and in all kinds of other unseen industries, keeping the internet working for one thing. Thank God for them in the midst of all of their business. But many of us are being forced to be still, much more stiller than we would usually be, to stop running around. And maybe this part of the resurrection appearances then comes as something of an encouragement to us to embrace it, to be still. John and Peter too busy running. Mary is still. And that's when she sees angels. That's when she hears and understands that God is on the move, that heaven is touching earth, that God's reality is breaking into her reality. So may we have the courage to embrace this stillness. And as we sit, so may we see angels, may we hear their message to us, and may we discover something more of how God is able to be with us in busyness, but also in stillness. And in that stillness is able to transform our hearts and our minds and help us to see the world in very different ways. The angels ask Mary a question. Why are you weeping? And in a few moments' time, as we'll see tomorrow, her world is about to change completely. Well, in this time of stillness, may God draw close to us and challenge us and maybe even transform us so that we might see the world a little bit differently and think anew about what does justice mean, not just for ourselves, but for the whole world. What's life really about? And where do we find God? Where do we find meaning? And where do we find love? There's nothing to fear in being still. In fact, sometimes that's when we discover most about ourselves, most about other people, maybe even most about God. So stop running, sit still, and see how God appears to you and what he might say to you. You never know. You might even see an angel.